Welcome to Tech Prep video tutorials. In week 11 of biology, let's study and solve a question regarding heredity and variations part 3. A person suffering from Klinefelter syndrome shows which of these characteristics? Even before we go to the characteristics, let's understand what Klinefelter's syndrome is. In short, it's also referred as KS or technically called as XXY. Why? We will come up to that. We know that a DNA of a male is made up of X and Y chromosomes, and of a female, it's made of X and X chromosomes. Okay, we are not talking about the dominant and the recessive genes here. We're just talking about simple XY and XX chromosomes. However, when a male has two X chromosomes, which means that's what we're talking about, XX and Y, then that boy or that male is called as suffering from Klinefelter's syndrome. So what are the characteristics shown by a person suffering from this syndrome? The primary feature is sterility, and sometimes symptoms are more prominent and may include weaker muscles, greater height, which means they are taller, weaker muscles, which means they are not as strong as normal boys, poor coordination, less body hair, smaller genitals and breast growth, and less interest in sex. So these are the normal things which are shown by a characteristics displayed by a boy suffering from KS. However, though they have some reading difficulties, but the intelligence is usually normal, which means they do not have any anything to do with their brain, or they do not have any mental defects. So let's look at the options given. The first option is sterile individual and gynecomastia. Sterile individual means, as I said, is related to fertility, which means all boys suffering from KS are unable to father a biologically related child without the help of a fertility specialist. And gynecomastia refers to as increased breast tissue, which means they display more breast tissue than a male but less than a female. It's not fully developed breast, but less than a female and more than a male. So sterile individual and gynecomastia, well, that looks like a very good right option, but however, look at the second option. They are tall structured, mental defects and have strong antisocial behavior. Well, let me start from the back, which is strong antisocial behavior. A person with KS is normally quieter, less assertive, less physically active, more helpful and eager to please, and more obedient or more ready to follow directions. So definitely that does not show the strong antisocial behavior. And their intelligence is very normal. There's nothing wrong with them. They're usually normal, so they have no mental defects. But yes, they are tall. At the age of 5, this can be identified because they are taller, fatter around the belly than the normal boys. And well, the tall structure is a right answer, but the other two cut it out. So let's look at the third option. The third option given is lack of secondary sexual characters and retarded psychomotor control. Talking about sexual characters, well, at puberty their bodies make less testosterone than normal boys, so their development may be disrupted or slow, which means they have reduced sperm production and decreased sexual interest, not complete lack of secondary sexual characters. They have small testes with the possibility of testes shrinking slightly after the teen years, and because of less testosterone, they have less muscle, less hair, and less sexual interest and function. And retarded psychomotor control, which means motor skills. Well, they are slower, but they are not retarded. They do not have any difficulty with their coordination, but they are slower in developing motor skills, coordination, speed, and muscle strength. So the third one is also out. So let's look at the fourth option. Fourth option, all of the above. Well, we know that it is not, B is not completely right. C is also not right. So B, C takes out along D as well. So the right answer is option A, which is sterile individual and gynecomastia.